and welcome to the Kauai County Council Roundup from yesterday's meeting, February 26th. I'm Rapozo, Chair of the County Council, with Vice Chair Kipukai Kualii.
Aloha.
And yeah, it was a good day. We started off with a certificate recognizing You Matter Kauai. They are a nonprofit that is focusing on teen suicide, and they have an event coming up, Mr. Kualii.
Yeah, it's on Friday, February 28th. It's primarily for 6th through 12th graders. I think it starts at, well, and families too, but 5:30. It's called Guide by His Light. And I guess it's going to be like a concert, if you will. There'll be some entertainment and then some individuals saying their stories, their inspirational experiences and all of that. It's a big community gathering, a chance for everyone to come and show their support.
Yeah, and it's also going to have a bunch of resources there, different agencies that provide services for our teens. And I highly recommend you guys checking it out. youmatterkauai.com. All the information is there if you want to help. But more importantly, if you want to show up and go check it out. A lot of kids will be there. And like Mr. Kualii said, a lot of speakers that will share their stories. So
Convention Hall, right?
Convention Hall. Friday, which is really tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. After that, we had our first item of importance was the Cost Control Commission report. You know, Cost Control Commission's duty is to go out and go through the government's budget and specifically look for ways to cut costs without reducing services. So interestingly enough, this year, one of the findings was the county council.
Recommendations.
And, yeah.
Two of them.
Basically, what happened a couple of years ago, we moved to the implementation of personal staff or private staff for our council members, which mostly all the municipalities across the United States have. Kauai has never had. We just never was able to afford it. And a couple of years ago, we did set aside money, and some members took advantage of it and hired private staff. And it's a huge help and a huge assistance to the council members. And it was, redone again at the last budget year. However, not all the money was spent, and so they picked up on that, and we will make that correction. The anticipation was that more council members was going to take advantage of these funds, and they didn't. So we'll make the adjustment as we come up to budget next month, and that will be corrected. There was another finding or recommendation regarding was that real property tax or finance department, and we are told that will be examined and looked at and fixed as well. So very good. The commission, again, it's a very important commission, and it's been a while since we had an active, engaged cost control commission. So much mahalo to the commission.
And they looked at a lot of different areas, right? They looked at probably like 12 or so different areas, equipment, expenditures, surplus, the budget, the lapse funds, the contracts, derelict vehicle program, abandoned program, like you said, real property tax. So they looked at a lot of areas. I think it was probably easily like 12 or 15. And then they had just those two recommendations.
It's actually good news that there were only two. It's kind of like mini audits. And we do not take offense to the fact that they did find some issues with our budget, and again, as I said at the meeting, we will rectify that immediately. The next item was a very simple approval for a little over $8,000 for our home delivered meals program. This council and our Office of Elderly Affairs always support the funding that comes from the federal government or the state for the purposes of feeding our kupuna, really here on Kauai. And speaking of feeding our kupuna, we had a resolution introduced by Councilmember Fern Holland, and it was a resolution urging the state legislature to support the establishment of a universal free school breakfast and lunch program. So we approved the funds for the kupuna. This resolution was urging our state legislature to really consider and support a universal free school breakfast and lunch program where all children in all the schools would be able to eat for free. It's an amazing concept.
Yep. Can't believe it hadn't been done already.
Yeah, we know, especially today with the difficult times, there are many kids that are going to school. That's the only place they actually get their meals. And if the parents cannot afford, or if they lapse their card, their account balance, and they're not allowed to eat. So it's really something that's simple. And I'm hoping that the legislature, although I think I did see a message this morning that the legislature deferred the bill that was to do this. We're hoping that it gets picked up and some action is taken. But again, a no-brainer. We want to make sure our kids are fed. Want to make sure our kids are learning.
Yeah.
And it's hard to learn on an empty stomach.
Absolutely. They have the scientific results to show,
I mean,
test scores and all of that.
Look at Mr. Kualii. When he doesn't eat before he comes to the council meeting, he's grumpy. Apparently, you had a good lunch today because you're happy.
I usually eat.
We had two bills, and the first bill was a bill that would create a law that would prohibit trespassing on county property. Right now, as you know, on private property, like if you go to a store, you go to a bar, you go to a restaurant, and you cause a ruckus, the store owner, restaurant owner can come and serve you a little paper that says, "Hoy, we don't want you to be here. You're causing a problem. You're no longer allowed to be here for a whole year." On private property, it's a whole year. What we're finding a lot of instances where some people are trespassing on county property, whether it's sleeping, defecating, urinating, and the police officers they do not have a tool for trespassing as it relates to public property. So this bill simply kind of takes what the private law says for private property, with the only difference is that this trespass warning would be good for only 30 days as opposed to a year with private property.
Yeah, and the law is already in place by the state, but when the state made the law, it left out the county, so the county has to make its own law. And the administration did come and provide us all the numbers and the justification that the law is indeed needed. And I think we have to make sure our employees are safe as well.
Correct. That's entirely the reason why the bill is introduced, is really for the safety and security of our employees.
And it won't be just because someone's there. It's if they're there and they're creating a problem. Like, for example, I think one of the ones they said was like in the Kipukai building, there's restrooms inside of the building. And during the day when the building is open, people come and go. They can use the restrooms, what have you. But at the end of the day, when they're trying to close it down, people cannot be in there in the restroom. They have to leave because they're closing it down.
Yeah, a very important requirement of this bill is the areas that this law applies has to be closed to the public. So your sidewalks aren't closed. So the sidewalks up and down the street, that is open 24/7. So this law would not apply to that, but it does apply to the office buildings. And it depends on some parks. If in the event like Hanamalo Beach Park is a closed park at night, that would apply.
And they'll add signage also to make sure it's clear. And then again, there's warnings and all of that, so nobody's going to be, immediately in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tool that the police can use in the event there is an individual that just simply refuses to leave. Most people will leave when the police officers tell them to leave. Mm-hmm. And then the second bill that we had yesterday was what I consider is a housekeeping measure. Right now, if you live in your house, your property tax rate is the lowest tax rate with a assessment cap. If you have a second or third home or whatever, and you rent that house out in our low income affordable housing program, you get the same benefit as if you were an owner occupant. However, for record keeping and data management, it's very difficult to separate the two. So this bill will simply create a new tax class for the long-term affordable rental program. Nothing else will change. Rates will stay the same. The cap will stay the same. It's just now our finance department, as well as us in the council, will be able to easier track how many homes, how many properties are in long-term rental versus owner-occupant.
Yeah.
Simple.
Pretty simple.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, we're off tonight to go to Washington, D.C. to our annual legislative conference. This is our opportunity to meet up with our congressional delegation as well as key leaders in Washington, D.C., whether they're from the White House or from Congress. And this is our opportunity to go up and beg for some funding and some assistance, technical assistance. And we plan to do
And
that.
not just beg, but to learn about it, right? Because we'll
Yeah.
have all these workshops at our conference too, and people from the different federal agencies and stuff will come and they'll tell us about what's going on and what's available. And obviously, we have a new administration, and also it's a good time to figure out what's going on.
Yes, it will be an exciting conference. We will be back on Wednesday, so our council meeting next week will be on Thursday instead. And our recap will be probably that same day. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, we are here at Huike Studios. You can watch all of our council meetings on channel 53 at Huike or on the app at huike.org, or you can watch it live or archive meetings at our county website, kauai.gov. Click on the webcast meeting button, and you are able to watch the meetings live at 8:30 in the morning, or you can pick and choose any one of the previous meetings that we had. We want to thank Olivia here for being our camera person, and we appreciate Huike so much. So
Hello.
until then, ahui ho, guys. See you
Aloha.
next time. Aloha.